Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. I am between a rock and a hard place first and foremost, but it's Revolutionary Girl Utena, everybody. Welcome back. Let me explain my position, I guess. So you've probably already seen the title. You will know how many episodes I do. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I have no idea how many episodes I'm doing, I guess you should say. The other thing's also true though. So let's start at square one. Episodes 28 and 29 go together. That is something that I know. They go together to a pretty good extreme, to the point where I'd kind of be gimping myself if I didn't do them together. I think like it would be bad if they weren't watched in tandem, right? I am also of the knowledge that hey, there may be some depth there, but the next episode's a Nanami Goof episode, episode 27. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Nanami thing. I'm pretty sure, and again, I'll get into a bit of the cyclical stuff we're going through. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be all that serious. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be worthy of its own video, put it that way. So, normally I'd just do another episode, but if that's such an intense two-parter that I don't want to go ahead and do one part of that instead and then wait a week and do the other part, and it also gets my sync off for future stuff where I need to do 33 by itself, like I really do apparently. That's the thing that multiple people have told me now. So great, hey, if I need to do 28 and 29 together, then why not do 3 today? I could push it and I could get there, right? But that is troublesome for multiple reasons. One, I think the show's really good. I don't want to push myself and do too much at the same time and not give it the effort it deserves. It's probably one of my, I guess, regrets about doing Monogatari the way I did. I pushed for multiple episodes a little bit more often than I should have. And in retrospect, could have gone into individual episodes in more detail. I did not have good stopping points all the time in that show, and I'll be the first to admit that. 2, and the more practical one, some stuff and their subbing stops at episode 27. After today, I will not have those subs anymore. I'm so damn confused as to what I should do. Because, hey, in my poking around, I see a few things here and there, but then all the comments on them say that the translation is absolute garbage. So, is it absolute garbage? I'm looking for honest feedback here. Is it going to make the videos terrible? Again, this is an important show. I'm really enjoying it. I want good subs. I want at least passable subs that I can dig into if I want to. I've heard some subtracks don't have the songs translated. That's insane to me. They're so very important to everything. It's again, rock in a hard place. I really am. I'll get up, yeah, just because it's here. And I guess from my knowledge overall on, like, I guess pirating things in the past, I think this Judas one should probably be the best one. You know, it's 1080p. Apparently, this is the best you're going to get for 2 choices between subtracks as well, so I can compare things as well. It's high enough quality. Image there looks fine. Sure, seems good. Only problem is it's from 2020, and then it has 22 comments saying that the translations are kind of bad. So, you know, apparently with this, the translation is good, but the pitch is absolutely shit, apparently. Like, it's like original DVD stuff, so I don't know. And then apparently this one's just the Blu-ray rip, and that would be the thing that the most people have experienced. But again, I hear bad things about the official translation. Again, rock in a hard place. I really, really am. Maybe I'll separate this out and put this video part on the Discord or something so people can, I guess, see my plight and see what I'm going through at the moment and the reasons why I've just done episode 27. Again, that's not to say things are set in stone, of course. I could get through this episode. It could literally be nothing. And then I could just do episode 28 and just pull something because I'll know that would make a bad YouTube video. It's like with episode 24... the recap, where I didn't know it was a recap, and then I had to tack an extra episode on there because no one's going to watch just one video reacting to a recap. That's insane. Anyway, this is the rock and hard place that I am currently in. But anyway, I've spent enough time explaining that, and I guess I can get into actual content now. I wanted to have a chat about the public comments for the video that just came out, which was episode 24 and 25, the first episode of the new arc, and some ideas that I thought were worthy of mention. And again, this is just spitballing, we're not doing a full comment section. It's just a few things that I thought were interesting to reiterate. Same thing as last week with the extra analysis of the Mikage stuff. It's just a little bit extra. So there's a couple comments talking about the car as a metaphor metaphor, and definitely as a metaphor for sex. And not that I'm the kind of guy that finds motor vehicles sexually attractive, but I kind of see what you mean. Seen as a rite of passage, getting one's license, getting their first car, driving around, all that kind of thing, in a similar way to somebody's first time. There's some gear stick stuff involved. There's a lot of shots of the body of the car. There's a half-naked man jumping on the car's bonnet. Very, very cool. So I definitely see where we're coming from there. If you wanted to specifically talk about episode 25 as well, you bookend the episodes with kind of Akio and Torge in a car driving to wherever the next spot is, the next spot beyond their adolescence or whatever the hell, and then we end the episode with the two sharing a bed. I don't know, that's something as well. That's a link in my mind. Maybe less an overt sex thing or more a talk to maturity. Again, Akio is in charge of the car. He is the one driving it. He is the one that is in control here because he is 67 years old and not a teenager anymore, as much as he doesn't like to believe it. The other one would be he's not wearing a school uniform specifically. The school uniforms are actually based off the prince's costume. And we've seen the prince a couple of times and he's wearing the same thing. He's essentially cosplaying as the prince right now. It's being pushed in the narrative that potentially Akio is the prince from Utena's little thing. That was the connection to Saionji and Torga from episode 25 as well. The validity of this, the validity of Utena's memories of everything, there's still some stuff we need to figure out there for sure. The other one, again, the cyclical nature, which I've talked about. Like the first time we saw this order, where it was Saionji, Miki, Nanami joke episode, Judy stuff, into future stuff, Torga stuff, Suwabuki stuff. Like, we've seen this order once in the first arc, we've seen this order twice in the second arc, and a third time now represents a trend, right? So now I have a pretty good expectation of which characters I'm going to see and when, and who they're going to be associated with. Somebody said a really poignant line. They said that the first arc is thesis, the second arc is antithesis, and the third arc is synthesis. So first arc, we're establishing what we mean, what the general gist of this character and their conflict is. 2, who is the antithesis to this character, and what do they represent, and how are they, I guess, challenging this thesis that one character represents. And the third, we're going to synthesize, we're going to bring these characters together, maybe using the motor vehicle and that metaphor for coming together and maturity to push something even further down the line. I've only got one example so far, so I'll talk about it. Mickey and Kozue definitely represent this. In the first arc, Mickey presents one side of a conflict, right? He represents his radiant thing in the past and the events as how he saw them, and how Anchi is now representative of this, and all that kind of stuff, right? In the second arc, in the Black Rose stuff, right? And again, Black Rose, almost like the other side of the rose, the shadow of the rose, right? We see Kozue's perspective, and it is largely pretty different. It gives us something we didn't get in the Mickey stuff, and instead of, I guess, us combining, I'm ambushing Mickey and I'm grabbing his heart and I'm using it as a weapon. And in the newest episode, episode 26, we're combining their two perspectives, we're combining their two sets of themes, we're looking for a, I guess, establishing point for both of them, being parents and adulthood and that kind of representation, maybe an overall theme for the arc as well. And they're coming together, they're both in the car, they both arrive at the dueling arena at the same time. It's not one person dueling, they're now together, we're synthesizing the two perspectives, right? In the end, their flaws still catch up with them, each individual flaw as, I guess, pressed on by Anchi, which is again very interesting, as I talked about last week. Anchi finding a very specific thing to do, which fucks up Kozue and Mickey in that scene, leads them to both go down the paths that, I guess, or fall for their follies, I guess, their character flaws. Finds a way to, I guess, get them both out of there and save Utena. Again, very important for Anchi as well. But, you know, we win the day. But the two came together and they experienced something. I'm not going to talk about, I guess, two siblings coming together in the car that now represents sex in my mind. That's a little bit weird, along with, again, a 79-year-old man. But that's neither here nor there. Can we expect something similar in future arcs where we're looking at the synthesis of the two perspectives that have been presented in the past? So let's take Juri, where we got Juri's perspective in Arc 1, Shiori's perspective in Arc 2. Are we going to combine them if we end up seeing Juri in this next arc? Most probably, you would think. And yeah, just that kind of one comment, I guess, elucidated a lot of things for me. Very, very cool. That, along with the car being this idea of revolution as well, that a lot of people talked about as well. Authority, taking control of something, being the driver, adulthood, maturity, lots and lots of themes with the car that we can go into in a very similar way to the elevator from last arc. But I've successfully yapped for long enough. I'm going to jump into the YouTube comments now from episode 26, starting with this comment from Chobo Ruby. And I guess this is a lot of comments in a reply chain. I don't mind the format, it's pretty cool. I have heard and like the idea that Archie shatters the teacup as a distraction to the conversation, an excuse to not feed information to Akio, thereby protecting Utena maybe, and exert a bit of deniable defiance. This talks to the specific scene where Akio and Archie are kind of just talking on the couch, talking about, I guess, what Utena said with regards to Mickey. Something like, I thought that they would be this way, but they're not this way. I'm forgetting the exact context there, but yeah, she was going to spill the secrets, but then obviously knocked over the teacup, and then that's when Utena enters, and they obviously can't talk about that anymore. So maybe she's playing Akio more than we know at the moment. I've talked a lot about how I think Archie is slowly moving towards Utena's side, so I think there's a change happening there, and that's good, especially with regards to her actions at the end of the episode and what she does against Kozue and Mickey, which I've talked about. So this is when they're in bed. I love the genes comment from Anchi, right? Where Anchi's like, maybe it's in their genes, I guess, talking about Kozue and Mickey a little bit, but also talking about herself. It's in their genes to act this way, right? I'm kind of trapped by my circumstance as it stands right now into doing what I'm doing. And yeah, as I say it right now, she is. She needs to break free of that. Anchi seems to treat love as an obligation more than a privilege. Her human connections are beyond her control in many ways that we've seen. Yeah, she doesn't get to choose her own lover. She loves people in so much as it furthers the cause of the person that's pretty much in control of her, is her major parental figure at the moment as well in her big brother. That's pretty bad. And yeah, aren't you trying to make this clear with this comment to Utena, that she is trapped at the moment and somebody's potentially doing the trapping? Again, the whole idea behind Utena not seeing Akio as a threat is kind of shoujo trope adjacent as well. He's an attractive guy. He's a very sexy boy, and you don't think that the sexy boy in the shoujo could be a bad guy. Well, in some shoujo anyway. I'm sure there's sexy bad guys. That's another trope as well. But again, he's being set up in his, I guess, relation to the prince. So how could the prince be the bad guy? That's impossible. Utena being her own prince. Anyway, lots of stuff to talk about. This show's so broad. When push comes to shove, I sit back down. I agree with this. That's kind of what they're alluding to with the necktie over the eyes scene with Mickey as well. Mickey is trying to apply logic to Anshi's situation, but when his eyes are covered and we see his inner thoughts, he is still just the same as any man. Using the quotes because, I know what you mean. And can't help but fantasize about winning Archie and imposing his will onto her. Yeah, this is when we're talking about him kind of standing up out of the seat that the rest of the duelists are sitting in, especially Nanami, who's sitting in a massage chair, very comfortable in her position, but maybe not knowing how dangerous it is. That kind of vibe. He stands up for a moment, but ultimately sits back down. Mickey is all talk. He's all bark, no bite, He talks a good game, but again, when push comes to shove, he is going to fall for the same traps over and over again. And I don't disagree that that trap is his masculinity, right? He sees Anchi as something to possess. And whatever way he spins it, he's still doing that. And yeah, that's the part which I guess makes him a little bit of a weaker character, even though he's mostly on our protagonist's side most of the time. Like, he's just chilling with us and talking most of the time, which is cool. The Anchi mom scene. Oh, I know what you're talking about, yep. I think there's an Ikuhara comment about it somewhere, and I'm sure someone will post it. Shit's insane. It could be a Rose Bride metaphor. It could be an Oedipus thing, like you said last week. Yeah, which I'm probably still agreeing with, yeah. It could just be them fucking with us. Who the hell knows? I love how they just throw this shit into a 3-second scene and then move on. I think it's more a metaphor, which also is this thing. So it's not real, like, in reality, as much as reality with the parents even matters in this show. Again, I've talked about Tokiko in that regard and kind of moving on and graduating and going into the real world and being well adjusted and being away from all this stuff, right? Which is pretty good for somebody. I don't think in the real world where the parents are, his dad's dating a 15-year-old. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's more that, hey, there's a romantic figure in somebody's life, and the person that kind of Mickey perceives that as is the person that he's also lusting after or loving or admiring or whatever you call it, right? That along with the daddy stuff with Kozue, I think it's all connected there, I think. And again, add some mirror-like qualities to the two characters. In the Nozomi sub, I think they say something like he might not be dangerous, he could be like a daddy longlegs, which I always interpreted as Nanami meaning we think he's scary like a spider, but he's actually harmless. The student council don't know who the end of the world is until he reveals that to them in the car ride, so Nanami doesn't know at the moment that that's the end of the world, but he does know who Daddy Longlegs is, I guess. I think it's somehow a joke when Kozue refers to Akio as Daddy Longlegs, maybe insofar as he's literally a daddy with long legs and it's supposed to be a haha coincidence. I think this is probably the correct interpretation, right? He's a harmless spider, right? He may be cooking in the background, but he's got nothing going on. And Nanami potentially seeing him fucking with Kozue and being like, nah, maybe he's a little bit more than a daddy long legs here. Again, along with the daddy line, which we've linked into the Oedipus stuff, which I talked about already. Very, very cool. Now we've got the metaphor of the wind-up bird. Consider Torga's council president speech he used to give. If the chick does not break its shell, it will die without being born. How the hell are you going to break your shell with a walk like that? He's just walking very slowly and then he hits a wall and then he stops, right? You're going to break your shell by following the rules, bending to a girl's wants, being respectful? Think that metaphorical egg wall is going to break if you politely ask it to move out of your way? Nah, you gotta fucking hit it with the big fuck off car. Hell yeah. The wind-up bird's a really fun metaphor there. I really, really like that scene for that reason. Hitting the wall, needing to be turned around, wound up by Torga, which has happened twice in the series already, where Torga has literally wound up Mickey and made him follow the system some more, right? Like, man, why are you going to follow all the rules? Follow my rules instead. Very, very cool. There's also a little pale blue rose in the corner representing Mickey. I thought it was potentially grey, but again, my eyes don't work. Oh yeah, this is what we were talking about before. We don't really understand. We're going to get to hear the side of the conversation where Utena explains what she meant by Mickey is more. Maybe it's I expected something more from him. I expected... like he talked a big game about this radiant thing in this radiant place when she sees that played out and it's all broken and overgrown and stuff. Like, oh, I expected it to be more different. I didn't expect it to be like this, the way Mickey described it. I didn't expect Mickey to be like this, actually. I expected more from him. That kind of thing? I don't know, something in that, I think. Yeah, it's something like this is definitely what I think is going on there. And yeah, I like the thread, and the Pokidoku segment will probably not return, but it was a nice little fun thing. I'll at least wait till it goes public. Maybe people will like it as well. At least we've got one person that liked it. That's all that matters. And last comment here from Lazy Joe. To go even further with the tree metaphor, the kanji for Mickey means tree trunk, and the one for Kozue means treetop or tree branches. So one's the trunk, one's the treetop, tree branches. It's being cut down at the base. The parents don't return. They're wild animals. They'll find their own thing. Where Mickey seeks structure, Mickey goes and he seeks the birdhouse again. Where Kozue wants to go away and fly free and do their own thing. Mickey's still looking for the parents. Again, more to that metaphor there if you understood the Japanese translations, which I should have been looking up names. I was doing that for Katanagatari, and it was quite good. I enjoyed that, and I agree with myself there from 4 days ago. Mickey seems like more of the dreamer and Kozue more the foundation. I guess that's what you could see for the treetop versus tree trunk. Yeah, maybe. I think it's more that Mickey looks for structure, as I've said before, right? That's why he's the foundation. He's looking for the foundation, where Kozue wants to fly, so she's in the air. She's flying like a bird, like a wild animal, going in fucking daddy long legs doing what she wants. And yeah, having successfully yapped again for a very long time, you can get your YouTube comments read if you're a Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, let's do that Patreon shout out, which I'll get up now. Thank you to the Patreons up to and including Annie Gregg, Fleur Nightingale, Mickey Babbers, Trails Plus Plus, Adley, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Ed, Fruit, Gus N, Heath, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Max, Mish, Nick, Pencil Sharp 333, Rondlad BNK, Sam 1373, Skeleton, Without a Net, Zach, Binchy, Hans Peter, Kelvin Cawthorn, Marsh, Aidan O'Brien, and Shawk. Thank you very much to the patrons for giving me money. The first paycheck came in and I liked enjoying the first paycheck. It was good. May spend some of it on a new headset because this ear is definitely going. So you may have a different mic setup sooner than you think. We'll see. And yeah, I guess without any further ado, after that whole shebang, let's jump into episode 27, shall we? Rightio, I've got episode 27 of Revolutionary Girl Utena up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 27 seconds on this one, so please sync up accordingly. As always, picture in picture. Last episode of the Sum Stuffs as well, so get that in while you can. This is like a Nanami thing. I didn't really do any preview, but Nanami has an egg. Egg has been a big metaphor in the show. Nanami will do hijinks. It will quietly illuminate some portions of her personality, I'm sure, like all the other Nanami goof episodes have. So yeah, looking forward to that. I'm just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1, go. I guess I should explain the other part as well. I've been unwell over the weekend as well, just like not eating much, pretty sick, not full of energy, not full of beans to be able to do more episodes as well. So there's just a lot of barriers to me, I don't know, watching more anime today, or at least in a way that I'm engaged in. And again, I want to do this right. It's a good show. And you treat the good shows with respect. Not that I don't treat anything else with respect, but you know what I mean. I'm curious how we get to 39 episodes from where we are now, because basically from after this episode, there's 12 left. There's probably going to be another recap, you would think. I've been told that there's 3 recaps. If I had to say we're following the formula one more time around before things break, like we literally turn in a circle 3 times and then things stop, something like that. Okay, interesting shot, like immediately. That's like an egg. Oh, the past. What are we doing with the diamond? Some kind of Fabergé? A secret from Torga? Okay, about an egg. You were. Hopefully not about any cowbells. She laid an egg? I didn't need a biology lesson, but sure. Well, you think it's your egg? What? Yeah, does she lay an egg? Now, I don't... I don't not know about female reproduction systems. Weird way to put it, but sure. They don't lay eggs. I can tell you that right now. That's not how that works. I don't think you laid an egg. You didn't. You clearly did not lay an egg, Nanami. Please. No, I'm ruined. I get put in jail for laying an egg with all the other animals. Nanami, you're more deranged than usual. Based. So this is this Ronaldo that I've heard so much about. Broke it? No. uh, does she know? Also, I thought it was like a. I thought it's like a glass egg. I don't know. Nobody would think this. what is Silbuki doing? Nanami, are you okay? No, I laid an egg. Please help. Oh my god. Yeah. She's called you that many, many times. It's steaming? I laid it. How many times are we going to do this technique? What the fuck? You're some kind of alien. Yeah. Oh my god. What are Nanami and animals, obviously, as well, that we're associating? I'm here. Right now. She's just moving like an animal as well. What, you? Humans don't lay eggs. Humans have eggs. They don't lay eggs. I'm telling you right now. I don't know much, but I know that much. Oh, you three. I remember. I don't want to say it, but I kind of know what we're getting at. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. But again, I just have no knowledge in that area that I can't really help you with it. I got nothing for you. It didn't happen to me. But I think I know what we're getting at, right? I think. Oh, sticky. Judy's so cool. She would never dream of doing such a thing. She's perfect. What? 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 Like a bowling ball, right? Yeah, gotcha. Are we talking about Jury's big balls? Okay. Yeah, this is a very awkward episode for me to talk about. She is a fucking killer at bowling though. Hmm. So she thinks that Jury was talking about her big egg, but in reality it was a fucking bowling ball because she's sick at bowling. She thinks that potentially this is normal for everybody to lay eggs. Oh, and now this is very similar to the cow song about her being fucking sold off and killed and turned into meat. It's very almost 1930s Disney. That's a cute song. Again, maybe less a direct egg metaphor for humans, and maybe just a representation of growing up, puberty in general, adolescence. Yeah, I love my egg. Why did Mickey say it was warm, though? That's the thing that's confusing me. I could. Of course I could. Of course I could. Anything for you, Nanami. Okay, bye. That's just her normally. She giving up too much of herself for saving the egg. Etchy's funny. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, be like being compared to a cow or something. Huh? I didn't really think about it that, but sure. Yeah, I've got my egg. Look at this. It's not really. I think we're getting to. Yeah, we're not on the same page here. Boo! He's being a bigot. There's a misunderstanding here. What? What do you mean by that? What's happening? Okay. Nobody lays eggs, Nanami. I'm gonna be real with you. Ew. I'm more concerned about the eggs not being, like, cooked there. I don't know, Shadow Girls. Those fucking guys piss me off, man. I hate them. Mm. Sure. What was it? Looked like some kind of fucking amoeba or something. That was crazy. Some kind of alien. Hey, yo. Okay. I've abandoned my egg. I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy. No way. Why? Okay. Sure, we're talking about egg in a different way there. Gotcha. I think I understand that a little bit more. What he means by that. I need to go save my egg boy. Is it there? No way. Who stole my egg? I needed that. Oh, somebody's cooking the fuck out of it. Oh, it's broccoli boy. It's true. As weird as it is, it's true. Oh, saved. Also, bro is bulking like crazy. He's gonna have like 200 eggs. I'm sure you know all about painfully embarrassing. Oh, no, I got distracted and I burnt my egg. Be careful with the egg. Oh, these two are gonna fucking have a little chat. Sure. What an odd question. Yeah. What an odd thing to tell Utena. Interesting. It's also relevant for Anshi as well, obviously. Okay. Giant egg. My egg is being well lit in a giant crater. Almost looks like the planetarium. It's evolving? Damn. What a story. Okay. I don't know what any of that means, but sure. Bing bong. She's on the floor? Oh, he's on the floor. What? This whole episode. Okay, listen. I was a little bit worried initially in the start of this recording session that it was going to be like, this was just like a goofy episode that meant nothing. It turns out, it means everything. And by that I mean I could see 5 or 6 or 7 valid interpretations of this episode just on my first watch. I'm going to try to put them together into something cohesive. I guess they are kissing in this ED. I saw somebody write a comment about that too, and I'm like, I don't remember them kissing. It's off screen. We can't show two girls kissing. It's current year. Well, it's not current year. That's the problem. The egg means everything. Yeah, again, I saw lots and lots of different ways the egg was being interpreted. I'd love to see some discussion about the coloring of the egg too, which is pretty interesting. Huh? Who the hell is that? Fencing Legend has came back. All right, new character alert, but it seems like we're doing some Shiori Juri stuff. Okay, some guy I've never seen before, and we're whispering in the dark. I look forward to it. All right, cool. Let's talk about Egg episode in some amount of detail. Coming right up. So, episode 27, Nanami's Egg adventure with the egg. I'm very confused. I'm very confused about the egg episode. I think it's very clever, and I was thoroughly entertained throughout. I'm not sure what we mean overall yet. It seems like it's almost an episode of two halves in a way, where half of it I was pretty sure that it was a direct metaphor for yeah, adolescence. Let's just say it, menstruation. I just thought it was. I don't know. Again, I don't have a vagina, much to popular opinion, so I can't really say how it works and how people may feel about it, but that's what I got from the episode. I thought that that was some of the subtext, especially the stuff where she's waking up and finding it in bed. The way I understand how it works and being confused about that sounds like something of the female experience. Again, I just don't know. I guess where that falls apart is talking to other people and Nanami having a misconception about it happening to everybody, not it actually happening to everybody, right? Maybe being fed some wrong information about what's happening to her and that kind of thing. So then maybe scratch that theory. But again, it still has precedence, it still makes sense, it still like this amount of shame in it happening as well, and not understanding what's happening to me, and oh, it happens to everybody, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing, right? That still fits a little bit. But I think the more apt metaphor is just applying egg to the same way we've been applying egg to the rest of the show. You crack the world shell, and the revolution's outside, right? We're trying to revolutionize the world through egg metaphor. So maybe this is Nanami's want to revolutionize the world growing from somewhere, right? And then that attaches itself nicely into a lot of the Torga stuff. Torga doesn't like girls with eggs, because eggs represent revolution and doesn't like them doing anything of the sort. Girls must fall into this role that I have ascribed to them, and nobody else can do anything outside of these roles. He's being very, misogynistic, that kind of thing, which doesn't normally sound like Torga. He's normally a gentleman. But again, he likes his women a certain way. This presents an internal conflict for Nanami. Do I love this egg that I've continued to be loving up to this point? Do I abandon egg, or do I abandon Torga? In the end, it seems like she's running away from Torga and saves the egg, right? But let's go to the very end of the episode, which is all very confusing. Her egg turns into like a giant fucking explosion or something and cracks. It grows huge, it cracks, it shoots a fucking laser beam at her, and there was nothing inside. Now, what is that meant to mean? And then it was a dream, and then she wakes up and the egg is already cracked. So the egg cracking is good. The egg cracking is like, shit, I've become like woke now, per se. I'm interested to see if there's going to be a significant change in Nanami's character, in particular her fawning over Torga. I'm interested to see if we're going to keep all aspects of that, or has this egg metaphorically broken and we're going to see a new Nanami from there. But again, it's all linked, right? Because revolution is being linked to the end of adolescence, being linked into power, being linked into growing up. What else is linked into growing up? Puberty, menstruation, things happening to your body that didn't used to happen to your body. Did the egg ever actually exist? Did it? Did it not? Did she roll over in her sleep and break it? What's happening? Something about a dream? Something about dreamlike? Again, it's a very broad episode. Very, very broad. And for a Nanami goof-off episode, it's like one of the more, I guess, abstract things that we've seen thus far. Again, with the cow stuff and the cowbell, I was pretty sure on the events of the episode, even though it was pretty goofy, right? I was pretty sure I knew what was happening there. This one I've just got less of a grip on overall. But that's what the rewatch is for finding a little bit more concreteness in all this stuff that's pretty nebulous. I also looked up some stuff. It's storyboarded by a person that's storyboarded a number of episodes already, whose name is escaping me. He directed Azumanga Daioh, so that's a bit of a weird one. Sure, I can see that, kind of. The other one's really, really weird. To where this episode is directed by Hayato Date, who directed all of fucking Naruto. What a weird pull. For the weird fucking egg episode of Utena, you're the guy that did Naruto? Really? Again, I haven't seen Naruto, like really, really. I know of Naruto, and to me it doesn't seem like this episode at all. Definitely have more respect for this director now, though. Pretty cool. I don't know much of this stuff here either, but directing episode 22 is also very interesting because that's the flashback episode. That's the episode with with Tokiko and Nemuro and all that kind of stuff. And it had a very specific style as well. A lot of pointing to stuff on screen and fourth wall references and that kind of thing. Yeah, different, really different stuff here from what I saw very early on. Very interesting. But yeah, let's try to actually dive into this episode proper now. We start on a very weird shot with 4 yellow roses, Nanami's color rose. So we're talking about Nanami, if that wasn't already obvious. We're looking through a diamond shape. Now, if we move over to actually see the egg proper, if I can get a shot of it anywhere, the egg almost has diamond shapes. Almost. If you put 2 of these triangles next to each other, that's what I would say. We're seeing a small portion. We don't get to see much of the memory. It looks like we're looking through something to see it, almost looking through a shell. That's what I'm kind of trying to get at, along with this shape here being not quite egg-like, but circular, almost like a circular cage. There's been the stuff about breaking the world's shell, but hey, if you break the shell and you're still in the cage, then what are we doing? We've got to break out of the cage now as well, so maybe there's some stuff with that. I think the other weird part is this is framed like a dream, like something that may or may not have happened. But then in the very end of the episode, she wakes up as well. So did this entire episode happen? It's hard to say. Either way, we have a very young Nanami digging in the sand here before finding an egg. Look at the egg. She's confused about the egg and then is quickly confronted by Torga. Torga walks over and says, "What's the matter, Nanami?" She hides the egg from him. "Nothing. I don't want to tell anybody about this egg. It's my own personal little egg. They'll think it's embarrassing or weird if I show them the egg. They'll think I'm an alien outside of this world." She wakes up, but these concepts are something that follows her throughout the episode, not wanting to reveal this egg to anybody, basically in case it's embarrassing. The other part of the episode, which I'm neglecting to mention, I guess, is the stuff about animals and Nanami, right? Where she doesn't want to be in the cage with the animals as well. She wants to be outside of the cage. We've already talked about the cage twice already as well, so you know what I mean there. They'll think I'm an outsider if I reveal this egg to anybody. They'll think that I'm a pariah, and they'll want to incarcerate me. They'll want to do all sorts of stuff. I always seem to have a lot of thoughts about Utena after the fact when I'm editing it. It's always a show that has a bunch more to it once you sit down and think about it a lot more. Because you think about Nanami's entire story, and I think about her, I guess I would say most controversial moment, the part where she essentially kills a cat. So again, she kind of killed the cat in a fit of jealousy. We're linking the cat to Utena in that episode as well, stealing Torga's attention away from her. In trying to preserve Torga's love, and Torga's love specifically for her, she was willing to do anything, up to and including taking away life, right? And that was bad. We berated Nanami in the moment for doing that. But what is this episode here all about, the episode we're watching now? It's all about an egg. It's all about new life. It's about second chances. Remember, the cat is implied to have jumped out of the box. The cat is implied to still have been living as well. It's implied to not have specifically died in that circumstance. However, Nanami ran away. She didn't want to face that at that moment, that there could potentially be that hope there. And there's been some karmic justice, comedic elements to her interactions with animals since, but I think they all secretly meant something as well. This kind of decision as it stands coming back and biting her. I'd love to see in the future of the show if there is any more animals fucking with Nanami, because I think that they're going to stop now. I think that saving this egg and saving what's inside of this egg was a turning point for her and her character. And this is so deep because we see the scene on screen right now, she kind of has these nightmares, right, about people finding out about this egg and what they might do to her. They may lock her up like one of the animals as well, right, to be experimented upon and whatever else, like an alien, like something foreign. I want to fit into the norm. I want to do that kind of thing, right? And then of course, what do the rest of the animals represent in the show? The rest of the animals represent Utena and Anshi in a lot of ways, considering Anshi's specific connection and her love for animals as well. So her having nightmares about being stuck in a cage like this with the animals is, hey, I don't want to be associated with Anshi and them. That is a nightmare for me if that kind of thing happens, metaphorically as well. And by the end of the episode, something that I'll talk about a little bit later, I think that she is moved over to Anshi's side a little bit. She identifies with Anshi a little bit more than she's letting on. So yeah, there's a lot of a lot of depth here, especially for Nanami and how she's going to be perceived going forward. I really feel like this is a really solid turning point for her overall, and the metaphors are really strong here. And it's only upon repeat viewings that the show reveals its depth in such a way. So yeah, I could probably rewatch this episode again after finishing the series, and there'll probably be a whole lot more to dig into as well. So this episode's really fucking good, I think. We very explicitly show animals laying eggs here in a lot of detail. Now, Nanami's not particularly smart because she thinks that she laid the egg, not that somebody's planted the egg there, but again, we don't know at this point. Again, enough weird stuff has happened to Nanami as it pertains to animals that this wouldn't be that much of a surprise for her to have actually laid the egg. Don't ask me the logistics of how it happened, but it could have, you know. She did turn into a cow after all. There's another side to the episode that's kind of interesting as well. It's the wanting to be socially accepted side of the episode, right? As soon as she thinks she gets some kind of clues from other characters. As soon as she thinks she gets them, she's fine with the egg. She kind of craves social acceptance in that way. She craves to be normal, whatever that means. However, that's a walking contradiction. You wear this weird uniform that already separates you, much like Utena. You're not normal, you're anything but. So why do you seek this normalcy and all of that? Is maybe this egg breaking by the very end, and you wanting to look after this egg is you embracing this part of yourself that isn't normal, and embracing a part of yourself that potentially Torga doesn't like as well, and doesn't approve of. Yeah, it's all kind of coming together from that perspective. Again, a little bit abstract and nebulous, but I think I see what we're getting at. Oh, I'm not stupid. Okay, I missed this dialogue completely. Looks like today's third period phys ed class got replaced with girls only phys ed. Now, if you guys do gendered only phys ed in school, right, where it's gendered only classes, right, you know what they're talking about. They're talking about very specific things that apply to boys and very specific things that apply to girls, and there's going to be all sorts of diagrams and stuff. Now, my school did this in separated gendered classes as well, and it was a fucking nightmare. So I don't envy this at all, but it gives credence to my theory that we're talking about menstruation through this episode at least somewhat as well, because that's something that would be mentioned in a girls-only phys ed class. I think you forget how old Nanami is. I always think she's a little bit older, but she's not really. She's like 14 or so, right? And I don't know exactly. I thought it started a bit earlier than that, but maybe that's why they say that she's a late bloomer as well. Again, I kind of don't want to talk about it any further. I'm not super sure about it. The first portion of the episode is punctuated by these little dream sequences which Nanami has, in which people find out that she laid an egg and call her an alien. We mute all the colors. It immediately becomes winter. The face is all silhouetted and darkened, and Nanami is normally at the center of some kind of beratement she's being argued at before being trapped in prison and associated with animals. I don't want to be associated with animals. I'm Nanami. I'm better than animals. Now, we also have here Utena kicking a soccer ball at Nanami's face. Something which she's not very happy about, right? Accidentally revealing what's on her mind in the process about could have broken the egg, could have broken it, and then that turns into itself another weird dream sequence where she's berated again. But, you know, I want to talk about Utena and her soccer ball in this regard as well, because we've also got Juri's bowling ball. So a few of the characters already have their tama, they already have their ball, right? Utena's one of them, Juri's one of them. That makes sense to me. It flying and hitting Nanami in the face is definitely worthy of some analysis as well. From both perspectives. One, it could be the menstruation thing that I keep talking about, even though I don't want to talk about it. Or two, it could be the, hey, I'm already like revolutionizing the world and I'm already my own self. I'm already more confident in my own self. I've already gone further down the path that I think that you will eventually follow than you have right now. And I'm flaunting it to you. I kicked it in your face. Utena's just honestly really confused about the situation in real life, but again, we have one of these dream sequences where she's going to berate her for carrying around an egg. You didn't lay that egg, did you? Oh my god. She really laid an egg. Now we've lost all respect for her. That's gotta mean you're an alien. Where Suwabuki dances like that and we juggle a soccer ball on the other side before I get put in the cage with the animals again. Yeah, I don't know. Fucking Nanami's having a bad day. Again, in real life, Suwabuki and Utena are just really concerned about her. I like this gag about putting the hand on the head and that making her kind of embarrassed or angry and the face going like super red. Oh, her temperature's coming up. That's good. A stupid she-he like you couldn't possibly understand what I'm going through. Again, put the pieces together if you want to. And then she looks at her uniform. She's like, "What? I'm just wearing soccer gear. I'm sorry." I don't know. Utena just like she was just thoroughly confused through this entire scene. I think that's very funny. Either way, in the next scene, Nanami takes the egg to Mickey, probably with the pretense of, "Hey, I just found it. What is this?" So, hey, it's got a pattern on it, which is weird. It's also still steaming and freshly laid from today, which is really odd. That speaks to more credence that you actually did lay it, but it's a metaphor egg. Anyway, it's weird. Before we move into another similar sequence where Mickey finds out that Nanami laid the egg and is all very shocked about it, calling her an alien, a human couldn't have possibly done this, ha ha ha. I do like this scene of her in the cage with the animals, feeding time, her just eating a bowl of rice as well, and then moving along kind of like this, right? Where are we? Yeah, like this. Like kind of moving as an animal towards him after having that little dream sequence. It's kind of like associating alien with animal as well. Something that we're going to like kind of lock up and experiment on. Like people experiment on frogs and stuff like that, right? So maybe similar from there as well. Again, I'm kind of grasping at straws this episode. I don't know if you've noticed. Nanami asks Mickey if what if a human laid it, right? And then Mickey laughs to himself. Well, there are mammals that do lay eggs, like platypuses and that kind of thing, right? But no, we've never heard of a human girl laying eggs, so a human probably didn't lay this egg, Nanami. You stupid so and so. Oh, I understand what happened in this scene. Okay, I don't love the edit here, right? So okay. Interesting thing to suggest. There are, after all, mammals that lay eggs. Huh? There are? And then Mickey closes his eyes. I've never heard of any human girl laying eggs, though. And then she runs away, right? And she doesn't get to hear the second half there. Okay, this is where the misconception starts. I had no idea that humans laid eggs. Oh my god, this has been inspiring to me. This has unlocked something in my mind. That right there is the trouble with not reading dialogue, folks. That's why I was so confused through portions of this episode. I'm like, well, how did she get convinced that humans lay eggs? That's how. Gotcha. And then it kind of snowballs from here. It snowballs from the conversation she has here with Keiko, and then into the jury stuff. She's still just convinced that they're talking about eggs the entire time. So she says that how marvelous it is that I've laid an egg or whatever, but then now she's really nervous about telling all of her friends. She's got this yellow rose up here in this dream sequence, right, as Keiko and the gang walk over and try to check with her. She wants to tell them about the egg, but worries that they've all laid eggs already and will embarrass her for it. To where, hey, then the three girls in her kind of nightmare would then kind of shame her for now only being the time that she laid an egg and not before now, right? Didn't think you'd be such a late bloomer, that kind of thing. Before singing a bit of a childish song at her and calling her an alien and then locking her in fucking prison again. A prison of her own mind. And yeah, this is more to the scientific experiment side of it, right? Where we're going to be locked up and looked at and kind of scienced upon because you're unique in that regard of being such a late bloomer. Don't really get it. And then I don't understand what's happening here. Even if they come for me, I won't let them take me again. What? Is she just insane? Is Nanami just insane? Is that what we're getting at? Either way, now she's kind of spiraled in her delusions to thinking that she was now the only one that didn't know that humans laid eggs. As she's running, she hits Judy and she drops her ball. And obviously she can't tell Judy. Judy's going to berate her for not laying any eggs until now. This little translation note helps us with this scene as Tama means ball, Tamago means egg. So there's a bit of a kind of similarity between the two, and Nanami is confusing this for an egg, which Judy has laid, which I do not want to know the logistics of at all, not for one moment. To add to the confusion, again, you think that we're talking about eggs here, and it's really heavy. My old ones used to be lighter, talking about bowling balls. When I was 7, I used to have a lighter bowling ball. When you were 7 in the sandpit, you found an egg as well and didn't tell anybody about it. Or maybe that was just a dream. But hey, you think that she's laying bowling ball-sized eggs and that you're holding on to one right now. Which is just a really odd thing to think. Yeah, it's a pretty comedic, fun little scene, right? Where it's like, oh, it's fun to lay the eggs that big? What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. You should try it sometime. When again, Judy's just talking about bowling. Judy is so mature. Not in the ways you think, anyway. Either way, Nanami is now feeling way more comfortable about the situation. Everyone is laying eggs these days. It's a completely normal thing to do, and now I can start loving my own personal little egg here. Keeping it clean, keeping it safe, that kind of thing. Hurry up and grow big for me for your mommy. Oh my god. And then that kind of links into the song we play here in a second. But then, how does this link in everything else, right? So an egg is a symbol of life. Things live, they come from eggs, they get born, that kind of thing, right? Works the same way in humans, just in a different way, you know. Why does Torga disapprove of this as a concept at all? I don't like girls that have eggs. What? I don't want to have any kids? Is that what he's saying? Is it that direct? I don't like girls with kind of motherly instincts like this. I want them to stay a different way, fit into a different trope inside my own head. Or is it more to the revolution thing, right? You're keeping your egg here, you're holding on to it. You want to keep that because it represents the next stage of everything as well, the next generation, the next revolution, right? And I disapprove of you holding that in such high regard. Do you know what I mean? How this episode's kind of fucking confusing? We get a musical sequence here, one of two insert songs from the episode, so let me read the lyrics for you. It has a very jaunty 1930s musical theater type vibe to it. I enjoy it. I think it's cool. It's kind of very similar to the song from episode 16, from the Cowbell episode, in that it can be reinterpreted as kind of sad and that kind of thing. The meaning of it can be kind of flipped a little bit. Hello to you, little baby, and to your smile. Hello to you, little baby, and to your cries. What little hands you have, what round eyes you have. How very sweet to meet you. I'm your mummy. That's a very cute little song. Again, almost sad in the context of the episode with the egg being abandoned and that kind of thing. And yeah, kind of this scene being used later is like, oh yeah, it was actually really fun caring for this egg and loving this egg and that kind of thing. You know, keeping it safe, keeping it clean, all that kind of stuff. Fawning over it in class. From here, we have the very similar tree from the Wakaba and Onion Boys stuff, where we're just kind of sitting on the hill there. Little egg, my dear little egg, she's singing the song to herself here. Hurry and hurry, hurry and grow big. It's a really funny face as well. I don't really understand this. Like, Suwabuki comes over and says that he'll do anything for her, and then she gives him 3 impossible tasks to do, like run really fast, fly at max speed, swim very far underwater. Can you do any of that? Then, you know, you can't help me. And then, yeah, kind of berating him for not being able to do any of these things, but when he says, I'll do anything, when you can't do everything, I don't know what you're talking about at all. And then kind of runs away. I don't know, maybe it's like a bit of a lashing out because he was weird about her and the egg. Like almost showing concern for her because she's showing concern for the egg, thinking that she's gone insane or something like that, right? Wanting to do this herself, not wanting to palm this off to anybody else as well, and lashing out accordingly. Suwabuki then uses this outburst as kind of evidence to go to Utena and Anshi with the information that she's acting strange, being really irritable lately. She's really irritable and kind of pale. I'm worried about her. Maybe she's got maternity blues. That's a really odd thing to say, Utena. Like, I don't know where you're getting that at all. And then Anshi, because Anshi kind of knows everything. She's kind of proto-Hanakawa in that way. It sounds as if she's laid an egg. And of course, talking about her pet chicken, Nanami, after she lays eggs as well. After she lays an egg, she gets really pale and irritable, apparently. And then, hey, Anshi, no one wants to be compared to a chicken, Nanami included, saying that it was kind of rude what she said. But Anshi didn't really pick up on the meaning. Still, I wonder who the father is. And then we don't really pursue that any further as well. But we do run to the next scene where we see Torga. So, hey, okay, like, having an egg is one thing, but if that egg is to grow up, right, then there needs to be a father involved. And the father in question here doesn't want anything to do with it. I don't like girls that have eggs, says Torga, right? Either way, Nanami's just happily singing to herself about the egg right now, before Torga jumps in and kind of ruins the party here. And this scene here seems super duper important, right? Like, Torga walks over You seem in high spirits, Nanami, right? Because I'm taking care of it, right? Because I'm doing everything I can for the sake of our bright, shining future. For our future, big brother, boys or girls? So, okay, listen. We have this in the back too, which is used for framing. Like a bird flies out from there. So, okay. It's clear to us, the audience, that Nanami is talking about what will hatch from the egg. Will it be a boy or will it be a girl? Torga is not on that same wavelength. Instead, he's thinking about only sexual preferences. He's thinking about sexual partners instead of children, instead of the result of the egg. Is this just a grand metaphor to say that Torga just doesn't want kids? Just wants to have sex with none of the, I guess, things that come with having sex? Maybe is this what we're getting at, right? Because Nanami's clearly like, oh yeah, egg will have bird in it one day, or child, right? And child will fly away. She's doing everything she can for her bird right now and for its shining future, and then poses the question to Torga, of course, which do you prefer? Which he says, of course I prefer girls, duh. Nanami then replies that she would prefer a girl as well, but again, the thing being that I would prefer the egg to be a girl than a boy. Cued, of course, with 3 more birds flying past as well. If I can find them. Yeah, right there. 3 more birds flying past. Because these birds in the background will become kind of feral at one point as well. Either way, Torga misinterprets what she said. He thinks that she said that she prefers girls as sexual partners, because what else could she be talking about, right? And then he goes on his speech about how God created men and women, and that there's no room in this world for any kind of same-sex relationship at all. Bear in mind, I did, a few episodes ago share a bed with another man, but that's neither here nor there. No matter how psychologically fulfilled you may feel, going against God's design is, yeah, he's full-on fundamentalist fucking crazy talk guy, like anti-gay Superman. I don't know what he's on about. This is really weird. I'm not saying it doesn't fit Torga's character, but it just kind of comes out of nowhere. And then here's the conflict, right? Because now Nanami understands what Torga's talking about, and it's like, well, I only have eyes for you then Torga, right? Only for my Oni-sama do I have eyes. Followed by a balloon. A balloon instead of a... a balloon, huh? Oh yeah, I don't think... Do I have my mind in the gutter? Are we talking about... That's a contraceptive, right? Is that what we're talking about? Because, okay, great. Is that what we're doing? Does anybody see this at all the way I see it? Like, egg representing life and then balloon? What else would balloon be? Balloons also fly, but they're fake. But they're also rubber. They're also like latex. Thoughts? Anyway, I don't know if I'm fucking on one there or not. Maybe that's a crazy reach. But why else would there be a balloon? Maybe, okay, here's another one, right? My love for Torga is like a balloon. It looks good, it flies like a bird, and that kind of thing, right? But it's ultimately fake and rubbery and kind of shit, as opposed to the warmness of real life, right? So it's contrasting the two things that Nanami loves. She's talking about her love of her egg, as represented by the bird, which is life, versus her love of Torga, which could be kind of fake and look like a bird, but not real love, Either way, we don't really clear up the misunderstanding there. We go on to the next question. What would you think of a girl who lays eggs, Torga? Nanami, do you know why we have been able to share a happy life thus far? It's because you are the type of girl who doesn't lay eggs, right? Okay. So this is more to the other point. This is more to the egg as revolution. Because you've been kind of subservient to me, and haven't gone out on any of your other radical ideas or anything and just kind of did my thing for me and been devoted to me, we've had a good relationship up to now. I do not like girls that lay eggs. I do not like girls that rock the boat and try to change things and bring forth revolution. New life, new ideas, all sorts of stuff, break the world shell, that kind of vibe, right? That's the men's job to break that shell. No girl should revolutionize anything. I truly pity the family of a girl who would betray them so. By laying an egg? What are you talking about? And yeah, this is when the birds go crazy. So this is the conflict for Nanami, right? Between, hey, my long-established love of my brother versus my new love of this egg. If one disapproves of the other, then I need to get it away if I ever wish to be with him, right? The sky in the back that was normally blue has gone red, and there's angry birds everywhere chasing her down now. It's like an evil flock. This piece of contrast here is actually brilliant between the window here and the red over here. So it's kind of what I was talking about before with kind of Nanami's treatment by animals in the rest of the series and how that's manifested. We're linking angry animals with Nanami and the color red. So when she's following Torga, when she's in her kind of obsessing after her big brother phase, right? She gets her just desserts from animals, right? Probably based on the cat stuff, right? So again, she killed a cat because the cat was stealing Torga's attention away. If I continue to be hopelessly devoted to my brother, angry animals will continue to come after me. The life in this world will attack me, as opposed to the contrast before, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm holding this egg, and it's like bright and blue and happy, and there's flying birds and stuff, and it's pretty and good and all sorts of stuff, right? Yeah, there's a good shot of it. So again, the choice that Nanami makes at the end of the episode is to go towards this side, to the side of good, to the side of animals and life, and away from her brother. And again, I'm getting close to my point at the very end. This reflects another character in the narrative, specifically in this arc, that may need to get away from her brother, who may be using her for nefarious means, and needs to realize that and action upon that. And that'll come around at the end of the episode when I come back. But yeah, I like this link between kind of all the animal stuff with Nanami thus far and her opinions of Torga, and that changing upon certain things happening and that kind of thing, right? There's just that hidden layer of depth in this episode that I really enjoy. And yeah, again, it makes me really excited to see Nanami going forward. Like, really, really excited. I want to see how she changes. There's also a really, really specific shot here that I skipped to, in which Torga has a pink rose over his head. He is thinking about Utena right now, where Nanami's kind of thinking about herself because that's yellow. And yeah, do you know why we've been able to share moments up to this point? It's because you are not the type of girl who lays eggs. Thinking about Utena, the kind of girl who does lay eggs, right? The kind of girl that does go off on her own and do her own thing and blah, 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 isn't just madly in love with me. So you're putting a lot of your, I guess, love of Utena and sadness that she isn't with you and all that kind of stuff into this as well, right? I wish Utena was more like you, so I'm projecting that onto you as well. Wishing that Utena was more like her in so much as, hey, I wish that you loved me. I wish Utena loved me the way that you love me, right? The next scene we have Nanami kind of thinking to herself about what Torga just said. You didn't have to say it like that. You didn't have to say that you hate girls that lay eggs and that kind of thing. In the back, we also have the three Dorcases mixing egg and eating it, right? Juri, Keiko, and the others lay eggs, so why shouldn't I be able to? Wait a minute. What are Keiko and the others doing with the eggs that they lay? And then she pans her head over and sees these three doofuses slurping on the eggs. Now, I'm not going to begin to talk about anything that I've been talking about up to now with eating the egg. That's weird. Don't do any of that. So I'm not even going to touch that at all. I'm not touching that. Either way, this scene makes me fucking very uncomfortable. It is my own personal hell where that scene is on repeat, and we move into the Shadow Girls. And the Shadow Girls segment has one of the Shadow Girls teaching how to prop up an egg properly, right? If we prop it up with disposable chopsticks like so, it'll stay up. But hey, wouldn't it be faster to just crack the bottom of the egg and kind of stick something into it and sit it up straight? No, that's not the right answer. That would hurt the egg. The correct answer instead is if we prop it up with disposable chopsticks like this. But then as it turns out, I think we're trying to say that this egg here was something else entirely and turns into something that then just kind of like eats them. Looks like it wasn't an egg. Looks like it was something else. And then it sounds like they're getting eaten. So I thought it looked like an amoeba or something. You know what I mean? Like the very kind of cartoonish look at that cell. I don't know, it's like the blob in a very horror sense, eating them. How does this apply to anything else? I've got no clue. I've got nothing for you in that regard. The egg eating people, I don't know what that means. So Nanami here doesn't have the courage to eat her own egg and knows that Torga would disapprove if she keeps raising the egg, so she's forced to leave it by this tree. even with a little blanket here so it can remain happy. Like in its own little nest. Look at that, that's great. And yeah, runs away crying, having left the egg there on the ground. I've kind of gone through this scene already, but now we're having dinner with Torga, right? Where he kind of just reiterates his points, and Nanami's very happy to be here, and Torga just makes sure that Nanami doesn't get any weird ideas. Even got some pink roses behind him already as well. Of course, big brother, naturally, I would never lay an egg and raise it. You did the right thing, Nanami, you did the right thing, she keeps thinking to herself. However, then gets reminded, with the kind of audio sting as well, of all the good times that she's had with the egg. And she can't do it. She can't sleep right, leaving the egg the way it is. She needs to run back and save it. And the music here is really fun as well, and kind of gets cut off as as we see Saionji's pan on fire cooking the egg currently. He's out camping. He thought that cooking eggs would be a good idea. Again, I don't know where eating eggs goes into the entire metaphor here. I don't see where that fits in. Unless somebody's got a very different interpretation of mine. This just is gross. And yeah, Nanami feels some type of way about this, starts to beat up our boy Saionji. He's got a cute apron on as well, which is nice. Thinking that he's eaten her egg, when in reality it's just normal chicken eggs. And yeah, Saionji's stupid and doesn't realize any of the context and just thinks that she's crying about fried eggs, which is not the case. And then, hey, look, here's the eggs, and hey, lo and behold, her egg is in the plate, already all safe. She quickly steals the egg and runs away, and Saionji is left, again, closing his eyes, trying to explain something with a character running away and not hearing the rest of it, much like Mickey in a previous scene. Being acquainted with somebody who'd throw a fit over one egg is painfully embarrassing. And then, yeah, she's already run away. In that time that was wasted, he burnt his egg too. Oh no, there's so much tragedy going on in this episode. Either way, Nanami starts to sing her little song to herself about the egg, and dancing around in the moonlight. She's loving it. We also have the next insert song here as well. Sounds very similar to the last one, but I'll read the lyrics all the same. When you're in love, time comes to a halt. To a world without time, the two of us shall go. Okay. And we're kind of... Okay, and then we're playing a scene with Utena and Anchi at the same time as well. So, you know, Nanami's got the love for her egg, but I also think that there's a love forming between Utena and Anchi. And this is kind of a place where the two of them just go to be themselves, where they can just talk without any pretense of anything, right? The night does not pass, nor do the stars fade. Yeah, this is more to the Utena Anchi stuff for sure, especially with the stars fading. Night does not pass, nor do the stars fade, almost sounds like a planetarium as well. Only our love song shall resound, the two of us love each other, and so our clocks come to a halt. Time stands still when we're together, everything comes to a halt, we're so in love with each other, all that kind of vibe. And yeah, let's go back here, because we'll talk about all this, but let's talk about the dialogue in this scene first. Please forgive me, I'll never let you go again, is what Nanami says to the egg before we cut into that Utena Anchi scene. Master Utena, do you believe in reincarnation? I don't know. Near the end of their lifespans, elephants part from the herd to die in solitude, or so they say. Which is interesting with elephants and that connection to Nanami as well, one of the first Nanami goofy episodes. Maybe they don't want to make their children sad, so they face death alone without telling anyone. From parent to child, souls being passed on eternally. I see, I guess passing your soul down to your offspring would be considered reincarnation of a sort. Why'd you bring this up, aren't you? And then we don't talk about it. Okay, so a number of directions, right? Obviously the reincarnation part is pretty important to the Nanami stuff. Let's address that. This new egg, this new life, could be a parent passing something down to a child. This could be new hope for me. This could be a new anything for me in this egg, right? That's why I want to protect it. It represents a new chance for me. It represents a new life. It represents something really exciting, something good that I could do. But also, it's very relevant for Utena. And Anchi, but we'll get to Anchi. Utena talks about this with the context that she's an orphan, right? Like, maybe they don't want their children to be sad, so they die away from them, right? This speaks to somebody who kind of witnessed their parents' death, allegedly. I don't know how it happened, and is very bummed out about it. She would understand a parent wanting to not make a child that sad in that context. Facing death alone without telling anyone is better to her because she's seen death and seen them face death, and that makes her very sad. It's a very, very important moment for her and her entire character. From parent to child, souls being passed on eternally, I guess your soul, passing your soul down to your offspring could be considered reincarnation of sort. Obviously, again, applying that to Nanami, as I've said. But then, yeah, why did you bring this up, Archie? And I want to bring up this shot here, right? Like, when Utena's saying this dialogue and we're kind of focused on Anchi just staring at her, right? Maybe they don't want to make their children sad and they go off and they face death alone. Maybe I am facing death alone without telling Utena sometimes, right? Like, I'm not telling her about all the things that I'm facing all the time to protect her from those feelings as well. I'm not sharing everything with her in that regard. But it's also bringing up the idea of reincarnation after all. Like, this is my lot in life, right? But if I pass down my soul to somebody else down the line, potentially a child, potentially a representation of hope, a representation of something new, a representation of revolution, then things can change. And again, egg cracking, life being born, something, you get the gist, right? I think you're protecting you, and Utena doesn't realize it, but in turn, you also hope for a future where you can tell her about it and things can be different. And all of that's from a very small conversation. I'm really, really enjoying these conversations between Anchi and Utena during the night. I think that's some of the best stuff in the show. Yeah, the very end there, the like, why'd you bring this up? And then just the look at her face there. Again, she wants to tell her, I think. Why'd you bring this up? I can't tell you right now. I can't. But I want to. And I think that's what this last shot's saying as well, similar to episode 25. Either way, now we're back with Nanami and her egg. I don't know how, but it's grown into a giant egg. She was holding on to it, but then when we cut back to her, it's turned into a giant thing that has spotlights on it now. Now, I don't know what this sign says. Does it just say egg? I don't know. Also, what's the pattern on the egg? I don't really understand that either. I didn't think it would be like a real egg. I thought it'd be like a Fabergé thing based on the pattern. Oh, the sign says danger. There you go. This is going to explode. Something's going to happen. It's dangerous. This is my egg. Why is it so big? I'm sorry. I swear I'll never abandon you again. I won't ever abandon you again. And then the egg shines up and then explodes and something comes out of it and it like shoots a beam. It shoots 3 beams and then disappears. Okay, so here's what I think happened. So the scene we saw before where she's holding the egg and dancing, she takes that back home and goes to bed. Now this is a nightmare that she's having in which the egg breaks. Something comes out of the egg and it's dangerous and it's like a fucking laser. It's like some alien shit. It's like revolution. It shoots and then fades away, right? And again, we're devastated. My egg gets broken. There wasn't a child inside. It was only lasers. And she wakes up and at that same time, her own egg has broken. Now, I'm noting that I don't see a yolk. So it's like the egg broke and something came out of it and it's moved on. And again, I'm seeing this as a hopeful thing. I'm seeing this as like the next life has moved on. Like I'm going to try new things now. I've been revolutionized, that kind of thing. I've been the kind of girl who lays eggs and keeps them. And doesn't eat them and keeps them and that kind of thing. Even though it may be sad right now that we don't get to see the child, the egg's still hatched, and that's half the battle. Nanami cared after it, and it shows a change of her moving away from Torga a little bit. She screams no, it's obviously not what she wanted to happen. She really cared after the egg, of course, and now it doesn't exist anymore. And then we cut to Utena and Anchi kind of in the Archeo penthouse right now. Come to think of it, I haven't seen him lately. He should be back soon. And then, yeah, like, okay, he should be back soon. We hear a doorbell. We think it may be Archeo. We open the door. He's not in there. It's only Choo Choo. Choo Choo's in the penthouse, right? Choo Choo, welcome back. And then you look sad about that. You look like that's concerning you somewhat. And I don't really know what that means. Something's bubbling away in the background. You understand why Archeo's away and it's bad news, and you want to tell Utena and you're feeling guilty, at the same time that Choo Choo returns back, who has been symbolizing your conscience a little bit, right? Like, he comes back and now you feel terrible about not telling Utena everything. I think that's what's going on here. In that same way, your egg is starting to hatch as well, right? Like, hey, I'm finally moving away from this guy that's lording over me and that I love and all this other thing, and I'll do everything for you, blah, 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 blah. I'm becoming my own person. I'm laying my own eggs. And I'm becoming the kind of person that's able to tell Utena about these things. And I think the guilt is reaching fever pitch here. And that's what we're trying to say from that final shot. Okay, scrap whatever I just said right there. That's probably the incorrect interpretation there. Some of it's correct. Again, she is moving away from Archeo and that kind of thing, but I think that's a less nuanced point of view that doesn't take into account the rest of the events of the episode. So somebody, this was the connective tissue that put it together for me, and I'll open Discord and I'll check who said it because I'll give credit here. Voidbird said it on the Discord that this is technically a theory, but if you pay close attention, it makes tons of sense. Choo Choo is absent throughout the episode and only shows up at the end once the egg has hatched, and Utena and Anshi's bedtime conversation is about reincarnation. So the implication there is that Choo Choo was the one in the egg that Nanami has been raising this entire time. So this brings together a ton of stuff. The animal stuff that I've been talking about in these sequences, right? How she is now caring for an animal that is closely associated to Anshi, as opposed to what she was doing before, getting scared, running away, getting angry at them, trying to kill them at certain points. And of course, talking about the elephants in that reincarnation scene as well, and how that links into one of the other Nanami goof off episodes in the curry episode, and getting trampled by elephants and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, all the dangers there within. I just think Choo Choo in the egg is weird, but it's the perfect representation of everything we've said going forward for Nanami, right? But I think it's the perfect thing that connects the events of Nanami's episode to Anshi's plight, which seems to be, from these first 3 episodes of this arc, the main point of this entire arc. Anshi's choice, Anshi's kind of dilemma, per se, between Archeo and Utena, and which side is pulling her. They live in the same place now. What's going on there? Let's not forget as well that I think there's an aspect of Anshi's personality that comes through in Choo Choo, right? Basically leaving Choo Choo behind whenever she does anything with Archeo. Choo Choo representing another portion of her psyche and often leaving that with Utena. Maybe in a way trying to leave this behind, trying to leave Choo Choo somewhere, because that's not healthy for me and what I'm trying to do with Archeo and all this other stuff. But he keeps coming back to me, he keeps boomeranging back to me, I can't quite get rid of it. Kind of like Judy with the locket as well, which is interesting. Like, I thought I was finally rid of Choo Choo, but Choo Choo's back. And then Choo Choo's associated with Utena, and I've talked about how some portions of Utena are coming out in Nanami in this episode as well, and this shit is stupidly deep. Stupidly deep. And kind of represents a change. Like, we're linking Anshi and Nanami, like, a ton, between their overbearing big brothers that are controlling them and the choices that they have to make pretty soon about what decision they're going to make, if I'm going to follow them or if I'm going to follow my own thing. Do my own whatever, right? And the crucial part is it's my own thing. It's not what Utena wants for me. What Utena wants for me doesn't matter, right? We did that. That was the first arc. I did what Utena wanted for me. And we kind of, nothing got fixed in a way, right? We just kept going back to the same system again in a different way. What we need is what Anshi wants for herself, which is Choo Choo. And she is in a dilemma of whether to pick that or to pick Archeo. Obviously, I think in the end she's going to end up picking her own destiny and that kind of thing. She's not going to be subservient to Archeo forever, but she's being pulled in 2 different ways at the moment. She is sad to see him returned, in the same way that Judy was sad to see her locket returned back in the day. And I could talk about this for ages, and I'm not sure a whole lot of it's been said in a whole lot of eloquency. but yeah, hopefully somebody can put something together a little bit better. But this episode's fantastic. I was kind of colder on it before, again, rewatching it and putting everything together and kind of seeing the direction I think this series is going. But again, that's just a guess. This entire thing's been just a guess, because guess what? This episode itself was pretty freaking nebulous. It was really good though. I didn't expect us to get that crazy that quickly in one episode. And in retrospect, I definitely couldn't have done 3. I definitely not. So I'm happy I did what I did. I'm standing by it. So yeah, next week will be 28 and 29. Apparently they go together. Apparently there's something about a new character associated with associated with Shiori and Juri. He's like a fencing lord or something. So sure. Another prince as well. Another dude that's in the dueling game. Another rose duelist, I guess you would say. So looking forward to that. That's really random. I didn't expect to see where that would go. I didn't expect that to be the direction that we did go, so again, I don't know. But sure, looking forward to that then. Please, please tell me. Just give me a link to something that I'm watching that won't be terrible, please. Um, I'm sure, again, people overreact about subs all the time, but people are really telling me these subs are bad. So I don't want bad subs. I want to enjoy the show, and I want to know what the best option there is. So yeah, please let me know that. Other than that, just show stuff again. So if you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord. Join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And yeah, I'll be back for more Revolutionary Girl Utena. Oh, Patreon as well. I'll be back for more Revolutionary Girl Utena next week with 2 episodes. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Ciao. And cheerio. I haven't said cheerio in a while, so I'll say cheerio.